Hi class, this is a mini lesson for lesson 7. You should have watched the video on great minds, which should have walked you through the entire lesson, and this is just a supplemental video to go along with that lesson so that you are able to complete your problem set, and we're going to go ahead and look over the problem set as well. So some of the vocabulary that is going to be new to us this time is greater than. So we use the word greater than when we're comparing two numbers. So to be the greatest number, you have to be the largest number. One example of how we would use greater than is we would say 3 is greater than 2 because it is 1 more than 2. So we use greater than when we're comparing numbers. If I want you to say which number is greater, and I'm talking about two numbers like 1 and 2, I'm looking for which number is bigger. So then you're going to pick 2. So 2 is greater. The other vocabulary word we're going to go over is less than. So we use this language when we are comparing numbers, and less than is used when the first number is smaller than the second number. So one example of this is we would say 1 is less than 2 because 1 is smaller than 2. So we use this when we want to compare numbers. So if I say the numbers 3 and 4 and I ask you to pick less than, I'm asking you to pick the smaller number, the smallest one. Okay? So we're going to be practicing this, and we're only going to understand it with more practice. So right here, these were the vocabulary cards that I sent home in yesterday's homework to review. This one is focused on greater than. So greater than is used to compare two numbers, just like I was telling you guys, when the first number is larger than the second number. And the greater sign looks like this. We're not really going to worry about the greater than sign right now because we don't need to know it, but this is just giving you guys a preview of things that we're going to be learning in the upcoming lessons and in the future. This is the vocabulary card on less than. So less than is used to compare two numbers when the first number is smaller than the second number. So like I was telling you guys, you need to compare two numbers. So right here in the picture, we see 3 and 5. So I see 3 books right here, and I see 5 books right here. So I want you to tell me which number is bigger. The biggest number is 5, but 3 is less than 5. So right here, we're going to do a little bit of math practice. We are going to talk about what numbers we see here, and we're going to put them into tens and into ones. So the first number I see right here is I want to figure out what number this is. Remember that when we see these long poles, like our anchor chart, these are tens. So when we see tens, we don't have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We don't have to count all of them in the pole because we know that there is 10. If we do that, then we're going to have to count all of these one by one, and that would take a long time. So we would count them by tens. And right here, you count these numbers by ones. I'm not going to count them for you because I want you to be able to count them. So go ahead and pause this video and you can write down what numbers I'm making here, okay? So right here, write this number down and put it into tens and ones. And then we can focus on this box over here, which has, I see 1 long pole, and I see 3 little ones. Remember that these are the ones and these are the tens. So go ahead and count these, write your number down, and then you're going to pick which one is the biggest number. So pause the video before you continue so that you have time to figure it out. Okay, so we see right here, we made the number 44. I see 4 long poles, so I would put it in the tens place because these are tens. 10, 20, 30, 40. 4 tens. I see 4 long poles, 4 groups of 10. Then I look and I see 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 ones. So I'm going to put the ones right here, and I made the number 44. When I look over at this number, I see a long pole, and then I see 3 little ones. So this is a 10, 11, 12, 13. We made the number 13. There is 1 10, 1 long pole, and 3 ones. So if I asked you guys, which number is bigger? Is 44 bigger, or is 13 bigger? Maybe you don't know this. So one way that we are going to check to always be sure is when we write them in the tens and ones, we are going to look at the ones columns first. We look right here at the ones. I see that this has 3, and I see that this has 4. So already I know from the beginning that this number is already bigger. So that we go on and we continue to look. Okay, so that number is bigger. Then we look right here and I see 1 and I see 4. So this number is bigger again. So you know for sure that this is the larger number. 44 comes after 43. And this is the number 13. That's at the beginning. So the largest number we are going to pick right here is going to be 44. All right, we are ready to continue. Let's go ahead and look at the next problem. So right here, I see 2 numbers and we're going to be comparing them. So the first step that we are going to do is we are going to put them into the tens and ones place. And then we are going to compare them and pick which one is the largest number. And we're going to plant a circle around it. So we're going to decide which is the largest number. So why don't you take a minute and you pause this video so that you can count, and then when you resume it, I will give you the answer on what goes in the tens and ones column. So right here we look and we see 1 long pole. I see 10. So I see 1 long pole in the tens place. So I'm going to put that right here, 1. And then I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 little ones cubed. So I'm going to put those in the ones place. The number I made here was 15. Then I'm going to look over here and I see 2 long poles. So I see those in the tens place. We're going to put 2 there. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 little blocks, 7 little ones. So I'm going to put those in the ones place. So the number I made here was 27, and the number I made here was 15. And I want us to pick the largest number. So we're going to draw a circle around the biggest, largest number. So right here, I see this number, 15, and I see 27. Which one looks like it has more? This one from the beginning looks like it has more, so you want to look at your tens in your ones place. Let's look at the ones first like we did before. I see 7 in the ones place and I see 5 in the ones place. And already I know that 7 is bigger than 5. So right now this is the largest number. So now we're going to look at the tens column. I see the number 2 and I see the number 1. And I know that 2 is bigger than 1. So I know that this number for sure is the largest number. Now let's go ahead and look at the next problem. But in the next problem, it's going to be a little bit different because we are going to look for the number that is the least. That means that we are looking for the smaller number. So right here, I see these long poles, which go in the tens column, and I see the little short little guys that go in the one columns, and I see these 10 groups right here that go in the tens columns, but I don't see any small blocks. So when I don't see anything, I make sure that I put 0 because I see 0 ones blocks. So go ahead and pause this video and write down the two numbers, and then you're going to circle the one that is least. That means you're circling the smaller number. Okay, here are our answers. I saw 3 long poles, 3 long 10 groups, so I put those in the tens column. I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 ones blocks, so I'm going to put those in the ones column. And then I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 long 10 groups. So I'm going to put those in the tens column. So remember that when we see these long ones, we have to count by tens. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Right here, I see 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. So we're going to look and pick which number is least, which number is smaller. Is 38 smaller or is 50 smaller? So the least number, the smallest number is actually 38. If you look at the tens place and the ones place, right here we look at the ones. So we have 8 ones and 0 ones. 8 is bigger, so I think, okay, this is the bigger number. But then we have to double check. We have to go to the next place value. We're going to look at the tens. I see 5 here and I see 3 here. If I have 5 tens, that means I have way more than 3 over here. So this number is going to be my biggest number. So if I'm looking for the least number, the smaller one, I'm looking for the number 38. Let's go ahead and continue. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our problem set. If you already completed this problem set, then you are done. And if not, we're going to go over it very quickly before you get started on it. I'm not going to give you the answer, but I'm going to explain how to do this. So right here it says for each pair, write the number of items in each set. Then circle the set with the greater number of items. So if I see groups, remember like our anchor chart yesterday, if I see groups like this, that means that there is 10. I don't need to sit here and count every single little dot because they're really small. I don't need to do that. I know that it is a group of 10 and I will count on. So I'm going to want to find out how many do I have here, and I'm going to write the number there. And then I'm going to find out how many I have here, and I'm going to write the number there. So I had to write the greater number of items. If I'm looking for the greater number, that means I'm looking for the biggest one. So after I write how many I have here and here, I'm going to want to circle which one has the most, which one is the greatest one. And we're going to do that for every single one of these right here. In the next set of problems, we are going to circle the number that is greater in each pair. So right here, I see 1, 10, and 2 ones. What number are we talking about? Then I see 3 tens and 2 ones. So you're going to want to write down the number that we are talking about, and then you're going to circle the greater one, which is the biggest number. And you're going to do that for these right here. And then in the next question, you're going to have to look at your coins again. Remember, yesterday we were practicing counting our coins with the dimes and the pennies. So here they are showing you the amount of coins that you have, and you are going to pick which one has a greater value. So I see 3 coins, so it looks like they are the same, but they are worth a different amount. So tell me which one is the biggest one. Which one is more money? So right here, the directions change a tiny bit. We have to write the number in each part, and then we have to circle the one with fewer items. That means we are looking for